Where is Jane? Is she...
Vanished. She went to find her mother's gods, to appeal to them for help.
But they are long dead. Unless she means... The forest. The place you call the Mournweald. It grew from a seed of the first creation. Perhaps it contains an echo of our gods.
She thinks she can restore the other Archons to life, with the help of her gods.
Our legends say that no Archon could ever truly die. Their fires could always be kindled again if our gods willed it so. If Jane restored them all to life, she would have an army behind her.
Just how many Archons were there when your gods were alive?
We counted ourselves as numerous as the stars in the sky. Indeed, the stars were fashioned in our honor. One for each of our sisters. Or so the stories tell us.
We've got to follow Jane. How can we get to the Mournweald from here?
Jane built this place on the ruin of a Legion stronghold. I've seen one of your causeways in the dungeon below. The gate was hidden behind a locked door, but Jane entrusted her handmaids with a key. I have it here.
Now that Jane has fled, where will you and your sisters go?
We shall watch and wait. My sisters may not all believe, but this battle doesn't only chart the course of your kingdom. It also foretells the future of our race. Do we follow Jane, the first sister of old, or a new road led by the prophet who walks at your side?
You mean... me?
Yes. You may not remember your life before, but you challenged Jane's mother in the Mournweald. For that offense, you died. You were called back to life with purpose, as the harbinger of Jane's fall. I believe that you were meant to take her place. But we will see.
Martin, what about our army? Has the battle ended?
We've won, but only thanks to you. A few of Jane's people surrendered. The others all fled.
You're too humble, Martin. I didn't win your battle for you.
No, I don't mean to be modest. We held our own, but we'd never have swept them off the field. When the fire burst from the top of the tower, the fighting nearly stopped, with everyone straining to see. Then the fire went out, and Jane's army knew that she'd lost.
I tried not to harm the other Archons, but I couldn't be sure they survived.
Thank you. They are alive, all of them. Soraya is with them now. I know my sisters. They'll see Jane's defeat as a sign that she led us astray. None of us will follow her again.
Can we take the elevator down to the dungeon?
Yes. No need to stop in the chancel. It will take you all the way to the dungeon below.
I'm with you. Let's go and see if this causeway is still intact.
Made it out alive, did you? Not bad. Since you did old Fitch a favor, let old Fitch do one for you. Got some good stuff here. I'll start cheap.
I'd consider his offer. You won't have another chance to buy weapons or gear before you face Jane. So, one way or another, this is the end of our road. Shall we go?
Stay here, Martin. Someone needs to take charge of the spire.
I thought you might say that. Meister Wolf doesn't lack for nerve, but the man's a bit mad. Seems wrong, though. We started this journey together. I would have liked to have been there at the end.
You're a good friend, Martin. Take care.
Remember, out of all the survivors of the Legion, the Radiant Youth chose you. He appeared to no one else. I think he chose well, and I'd follow you down any route. Goodbye, my friend.
Someone left a letter here. Who is it for? The same year that the Legion fell. This letter is old, but he may still be alive.
Adonai be praised. You're here. You won't believe what's happened. It started just before you...
Jane Cassinda is here, in this valley. She thinks she can speak to her mother's gods and call the Archons back to life.
Well, whatever she's done, you better look outside. Something terrible is happening. It's like the sky's been set afire. Come with me. I'll show you.
Legionnaire! It seems that you've arrived just in time for the end.
You should be with your people, Lazar. They need your leadership now.
If I could reach them, I would. That path is closed to me, alas.
He's right. The entire West Wing has collapsed. Returning to town is impossible.
We're alive, aren't we? Don't be so quick to give up hope.
Hope? You think I should have hope? Look! The signs are all around us. Stars are dropping from the heavens and we are all going to die. You see? It is folly to think of hope.
Are you quite finished? I can get you to safety in the causeway.
Causeway? But I thought only Legionnaires were allowed to...
You are a Legionnaire. And Lazar is under your protection, is he not?
Excellent point. To the causeway, then. I've always wanted to do this. To travel by causeway like the Legionnaires of old.
I'm happy for you. It would be a shame to get this close only to die under a pile of rock.
Go on, head through the causeway. You should be safe in there.
Here, take this key. You'll need it to unlock the door downstairs. Until our paths cross again. Hopefully sooner than later, hey?
pleases me to be at your side. I believe that we will pass this final test, and Jane Cascinder will fall. You are finished! I feel like I've seen this creature before. Somehow it is kin to me.
Jane Cascinder is close. She found her way to the tree at the center of the forest, and she's waiting for you there. I came to warn you. She is not alone.
She's called the other Archons back to life. I've already seen them. And another creature, too.
Not just the Archons and the Devas. Something much worse. It hasn't taken shape. Not yet.
What's happened to the Archons? Why do they look so strange?
The power at the heart of this forest has been twisted and ruined. It can only give birth to monsters now. That is Jane's fault. Though she doesn't understand what she's done wrong.
So, those four-armed demons have a name.
No one has seen a Deva since the dawn of the world. They serve the Creator Gods, just as the Archons did. If Archons were couriers and envoys, then Devas were soldiers, the wrathful hand of their gods. Even then, they were said to be terrible, but not as monsters as you see them now.
Jane called something else back to life? Do you know what it is?
Nothing I have seen before, but anything is possible here. This forest grew from seed of the first creation. It's alive with the power of the old Creator Gods. Jane has tapped that power. She has used it wrongly, yes. But it's still the same power that gave birth to the world. Limited only by her mortal mind. But it won't matter. If you strike now, you can still defeat her.
Is there anything else you can tell us? If what you say is true, we'll need every advantage we can get.
The danger won't come from Jane Cassander. You have nothing to fear from her. The presence that is taking shape, that is the real threat. Destroy it, and the power in this forest will be broken. Jane's Archons and Davis will return to dust. That's all I know for certain, but I'll be with you again, before the end.
Hurry! Whatever Jane Cassander has done, it is tearing the Mornweald apart. There. Only a little farther, I think. She's here. Be ready.
So you followed me here. You are stubborn. And I admire you for that. But you should never have come. I have restored the Archons to life. Just as I promised.
All this for what? To win a crown?
Yes. To take back this kingdom, as is my right. The Archons are not all that has returned. The power of creation still lives in this grove, and anything can be born anew. Even the creator gods themselves.
One of her mother's gods. She's called it back to life.
voices of my mother's gods. I cannot hear them anymore. Not even a whisper.
They are lost. You will not see them or hear them ever again.
You lie, child. Or whatever you truly are behind that innocent face.
No, Jane Cassander. I speak the truth. What remained of your mother's gods has been destroyed, and the power of creation has fled this grove.
You told me that this forest grew from a seed of the first creation. Is it dead then?
That cannot be. My mother searched for thousands of years, and this was the only remnant of her gods that she ever found.
The power in this forest might have been used to restore the old gods and all their servants to life. Not the twisted half-life that you gave them, Jane Cassander. A true rebirth, as they were at the dawn of the world. But you called upon that power to destroy, not to create. You twisted the power of creation to your own ends, until all that was left was an...
Why did this power respond to Jane and no one else?
Jane's mother was first sister. When she died, her fire passed to Jane. The first sister stood at the right hand of her gods. Only pale shadows of their minds persisted in this grove. But they remembered her. That is why Jane saw her gods in visions and dreams, just as her mother did before her. And that is why Jane could unlock the power that was buried here.
We have a decision to make. What to do with Jane.
Wait. I have a question, and I may never be able to ask it again. I was born in this grove 30 years ago, was I not?
Yes. I found you here, on the day the Legion died, and I carried you to the forest's edge.
So the Creator Gods, whatever remained of them, they called me back to life.
That may be. Yes.
If that's true, it must have happened quickly. Soon after Jane destroyed the Legion, but before the forest became corrupt.
Perhaps the Creator Gods knew that they were doomed, and they wanted Anjali to destroy them, to undo Jane's mistake.
If that is true, then at least I've honored them. Thank you. Your words give me comfort.
And Jane, what of her?
As long as she lives, Jane is a threat. A sword hanging over our necks. The Legion will never be safe. Not until she is dead.
I expect no mercy from the Legion. Do as you like.
Before I pass judgment on you, I want to know why you acted as you did. Honestly, and in your own words.
Why did I murder your father? That is what you want to hear, is it not? I was young, full of anger. My own father was dead by the Legion's hand. So I raised an army. I swore to avenge him myself, if I had to carve my way through every chapter house in Ebb. If the other Legionnaires had handed over Mont Baron, I would never have hunted them down. But they were so stubborn, so loyal to their chief. That was wrong of me. I should not have punished the whole Legion for Mont Baron's sin.
You're sorry for killing the Legionnaires, but not for killing my father.
I take no pride in the pain I caused you. But I am not sorry for the death of Hugh Mont Baron. No, I would kill him again. He murdered my father, and I don't care what his reasons were. You asked for honesty. There you have it.
The Mournweald was sacred to your people, and especially to your mother. Why would you confront the Legion here?
Mont Baron lured me to this place. Somehow, he knew what I was. And he knew that this forest was sacred to me. He believed that I would never dare to strike him down. Not in the presence of my mother's gods.
He was wrong. You used the power of the Mournweald against him.
Mont Baron was so arrogant. So sure that he'd outmaneuvered me. That smug look on his face. with no hint of remorse for what he'd done. That was what doomed him, most of all. I will never understand why the Forest allowed him to enter, when so many others were kept out.
Unless your gods meant to test you. Perhaps they wanted to know if your devotion to them was stronger than your rage.
I never thought of that. If that is true, then I failed them.
You've told me why you destroyed the Legion, but why fight a war with the Queen?
I will answer your question with one of my own. Do you believe that Rosalind would make a stronger queen than me? My father was a king, my mother a chief among her people and chosen of her gods. I have made mistakes, yes, but I know how to lead. And Rosalind, she has the heart of a lamb. Would you trust the rebuilding of this kingdom to a sheltered little girl?
If Rosalind falters, the Legion will keep the country whole.
Be careful. I hear the echo of Hugh Montbaron behind those words. Take too strong a hand, and the people will cast your Legion down again.
I have no more questions. I've made my decision.
And I am ready for your judgment, though I know what it will be.
No, you won't die today. I promised Rosalind that I'd spare your life.
Little Queen Mouse. I owe my life to that cringing girl. That is a fine irony. Am I to be your prisoner, then? Paraded through the streets in a gilded cage?
Atone for all the suffering you've caused. Help us to rebuild the kingdom.
You are not the Legion I remember. They were arrogant, and they would never have proposed such a thing. Very well. You have my promise. I will use what influence I have to help you heal this country. Let the war between us end.
By those words, Jane Cassander, you are bound to the Legion now.
It's over then.
For now, you deserve a rest. But it may be short-lived.
We need to build our strength and train more Legionnaires.
You will find many willing to join the Legion now. Even a few who might surprise you. And you will need them soon. The country is still divided, and the Legion has many old enemies who yet live. But you've shown yourself to be fair, as well as strong. Whatever happens, the people of Ebb will stand behind you.
You and I started this together. Whatever comes next, I will follow where you lead.
We part ways then. I will be watching, and one day, I will see you again.
You bid farewell to the Radiant Youth, and he sent you back to our chapter house in Stonebridge, where I awaited your return. In the weeks that followed, news spread of Jane Cassander's defeat. Her armies scattered, giving us time to rest and regroup. Martin Guiscard returned safely from the Spire, along with Meister Wolf and the Automaton army. Only a few weeks later, elections were held in Stonebridge. Meister Wolf, who had been so public in his support of the Legion, almost won the office of mayor. But he was defeated in the end. Many people had wanted the dapper old gent to hang. They resented the fact that the Legion had spared his life, and they blamed poor Wolf. After the humiliating events in the Foundry, Meister Castle was forced to resign as Guildmaster of Ironmongers. The Cyclopses negotiated a new contract for higher wages, and with the help of Meister Fiddlewick, formed a new workers' union. For the first time in 100 years, they were permitted to leave the Foundry and spend their newfound wealth in the markets and taverns of Stonebridge. Cyclopses are becoming an increasingly common sight in Stonebridge, and many believe that they will eventually take their place as equal citizens of the town. Archambault du Payen, formerly known as the Dapper Old Gent, proved a valuable addition to the Legion. His knowledge of Legion magic allowed us to retake control of the Sentinels, that had long guarded our chapter houses and estates. But the gem couldn't leave our chapter house without drawing an angry mob. His confinement started to drive him mad. So he returned to his beloved causeways beneath an endless sky, and he dwells there still. The following winter was a harsh one in the Rook'n'Val, just as Lazar Basili feared. Without any trade from the south, the people of Raven's Rill went hungry, and many died. Among them were the widow Ludmilla and Lazar's friend and scribe Grigori. When spring came, the dead were mourned, and Lazar's people did their best to carry on. In his last letter to me, Lazar added one other piece of news. Gunderic Manor has a new mistress, a witch called Leona. The manor has become a gathering place for scores of Lescanzi witches, many of whom are apparently quite beautiful. Lazar reports that the young men of Raven's Rill have also begun frequenting the manor, much to the irritation of their mothers and wives. Since the local men will not hear any talk of banishing the witches, it appears that Leona and her people have found a new home, which was perhaps what she intended from the start. Queen Rosalind abandoned Glitterdelve, embarking on a tour of all the cities and towns of the West, meeting as many of her subjects as she could. The Queen showed all the energy of youth, and I think she fully expects to reunite the country in a matter of months, not years. Reality may not be so kind as Lord Devonsey has tried to make her understand. In truth, the future of this country depends more upon what we decide. If she doesn't have the Legion behind her, the Queen is only a single voice, well-meaning though she might be. As for Devonsey himself, I think the man was impressed by your decision to spare Jane Cassander, as the Queen had asked. When he last visited Stonebridge, he spent a great deal of time in our chapter house. I believe he might actually be willing to rejoin our ranks, if we choose to accept him. Rajani and her sisters returned to Stonebridge, quietly and carefully disguised. Jane Cassander's defeat affected them deeply, though not in the way I expected. Their devotion to Jane was replaced by a deep admiration for your companion, Anjali. I think they saw in Anjali the leader they should have followed all along, and they have lately expressed a desire to join our ranks. I maintain my suspicion of any Archon who once followed Jane, but I believe that redemption is not impossible, even for them. Jane Cassander was as good as her word, though I had my doubts at first. She returned to the cities and towns of the East and urged the people to end their war with the Legion and the Crown. Jane's repentance was heartfelt, and many were swayed by her words. But others have not been so compliant. The Church Synod in Isselberg, who once called Jane a saint, have declared her apostate and threatened her life. Though Jane refuses bodyguards of any kind, Queen Rosalind fears for her life. And if anything befalls her, our gains in the East may yet be lost. As for the Legion, the rest of our story is yet to be told. We have a nation to reforge, a fellowship to rebuild, and old enemies who would see us destroyed. And we have questions to decide. Who will assume true power in End if the nation is restored? And who will take the mantle of Grand Master? But these matters I leave for another chronicle, and another time. Whatever happens, know that you will not face the future alone. The Legion will stand by you, always.